As I think about belonging and the complexity of belonging, I think of all the organizations and causes and all of the things that I've belonged to in my life. You know, you join. I belong to Minnesota. I learned that the hard way by leaving. I thought I didn't. Sometimes we don't know our own hearts until we betray them. And so I was out in the East Coast for 15 years. And I'm not sorry that I went, but at some point my heart just said, you belong on the prairie. You need to get back there. I could tell you that the people out east couldn't believe this. They were like, you want to leave Washington, D.C. and move to Minneapolis? What's wrong with you? Because they don't belong here. And all I could answer was, I just belong there. When I'm traveling around the streets, when I'm walking around the lake, when I'm at the library, I just know, oh, this is where I belong. It's kind of flat and bland and not very fancy, just like me. Well, I'm not flat, but you know what I mean. When we belong somewhere, it often isn't something we can explain to somebody else. But it is important to me to know that with all the places and people and everything that I belong with, ultimately, I belong to love. Ultimately, what I'm called to be on this planet is one of love's people. Now, believe me, I don't mean to say, oh, I'm loving each and every moment of the day. Far from it. What I mean is, that's the frequency at which I want to vibrate. Those are the people to whom I'm drawn, the people who are loving. And I mean big love. I mean love where love is, as Cornel West says, justice is what love sounds like when it's spoken in public. I mean people who are drawn to creating love on this planet, who are creating love even in situations where you couldn't think they would, in prisons and concentration camps and all over the world in poverty. What I've seen is often the people who can create the most love aren't the people who have the most comfort at all. And I have a lot of comfort, so I belong to that too. I belong to my house and my block and all kinds of things, but ultimately I know my soul belongs to love. That's why in this community we're committed to making opportunities where we all can practice loving. For instance, on Martin Luther King Day, we're going to invite a group of people to go down to New Orleans and do some work. Still, Hurricane Katrina is not over for the people in New Orleans. We're going to be creating as many environments as we can to practice love, to create a laboratory of love with each other. And that's, I think, what these services are about. That's what the Facebook groups and the small groups are about. That's really what spiritual community is about, a place to practice, a laboratory for love. I think the other indisputable identity of belonging that I carry and that really is primary for me is Earthling. I can't live without this planet living. And I need to be in community of people who understand that and who love this planet with me and who understand what it is to care for. That's why even though my garden belongs to me and I nurture that, I steward my own land here, this summer in the drought, at some point I said, I'm going to keep watering vegetables, but I just can't water all these flowers. They're going to have to just dry up. Because I also belong to the earth, and I don't think it's responsible to use resources on beauty in my yard while other people downriver don't have enough to drink or to use for necessities. And so we're all negotiating these kinds of belonging all the time. We're all trying to prioritize. For me, I would say the two priority places where I belong are on this earth, and for me, I most know I'm on the earth when I'm in Minnesota for whatever reason. Minnesota is what tells me I belong to the earth the most concretely. How about you? Where do you most deeply know that you belong?